Hello my friends, Kaitlyn here, and how do you think Pretty Little Liars is going to end? Today I'm going to talk about my favorite theories because there are only 10 episodes left ever of Pretty Little Liars. All of my shows are ending, it's really sad. So I'll tell you a little bit about these theories and why I think they maybe would or wouldn't work, and then what I think my favorite theory is. And let's go. Number one is the dollhouse theory, which I wrote about in a blog once and is still like one of my favorite theories. I don't think it will work anymore. It made more sense after the girls had been in the dollhouse, but it's the idea that Allison or one of the girls is actually in Radley or some mental institution, and everything that's happened in the show is just like her playing with dolls and making up these stories and kind of torturing people. So really Allison is the ultimate A because it's all in her head, but this is also very Lost-esque, and I know that people hate when it's revealed at the end of a big journey that all of it was in someone's head. I sort of like that sometimes. I've always found that interesting and been like, oh, I never would have imagined. Another theory that has always been floating around is that Aria is actually A because everything started when she came back from Iceland. Now, this doesn't make much sense anymore because really, the first 2 seasons of Pretty Little Liars, we know who A was. It was definitely Mona. We're pretty much like the stuff that happened in those seasons, pretty cut and dried. It's when Cece takes over and what happens after that that is questionable. So why would Aria be A or Uber A or AD now? The things I do think kind of could put a little check by Aria being A though is that after the dollhouse, she seemed the most damaged, I think, from all the girls, so I could see her going kind of crazy. And I feel like she's gotten that kind of same deer in the headlights and just kind of I'm going crazy look in her eyes since everything with Ezra and Nicole has come up. I don't know how it could really fit with Aria being A, but I just think there's more to Aria than they're letting on. She just seems too innocent of a character. It just, I don't know. I think that's why there are so many people who've wanted her to be A, because there's always something just with a question mark over Aria. Like, they go to that basement and find all those files on the girls, and who's the only girl that doesn't have a file? Aria. Okay, next theory is Ezra being A. Now, I've always loved Ezra, even though he's kind of creepy and like predatorily went after an underage girl. Like, first it was he just wanted to date her, and then 2, it was because he was actually sort of stalking her and trying to get close to her so that he could learn about her friend who was supposedly dead at the time because he was writing a book, and that's really messed up. And when you think about that, I don't know how Aria has actually forgiven him and is now engaged to him. I think it's just that everyone really likes Ian Harding. Like, as an actor, he's just really adorable and sweet, and he plays adorable, sweet Ezra really well, but he can also play like creepy, sketchy Ezra really well too, and you still kind of like him then anyway. Okay, so what does Ezra have in his corner that could point to him being A? Well, he does come from money, and we know that there's always been some sketchy dealings going on, and whatever girl he gets involved with seems to something bad happen to her, disappear. So basically he could have some ulterior motives. Maybe he is really like money crazed and wants to have another best-selling book. But I don't know how Nicole fits into all of this. Like, did he pay to have her kidnapped? I mean, that seems crazy. Next, we have Ren as A, who I have always wanted to be A because he's never really there enough, but always pops up when you need him. He's 1, smart, and 2, a doctor, so he has access to the medical records that have been faked and manipulated for like Allison and Bethany and like Mary Drake and all the people that nothing would make sense unless like medical records had been forged. Also, if Ren were A, it does feed into the idea that Melissa is somehow involved, because this is important, because Ren by himself doesn't really have enough beef against the girls. I mean, like, yeah, I guess Spencer kind of ruined his engagement to Melissa, but really, in the grand scheme of all the things, the bad things that the girls have done, what's happened to Ren is pretty low. So the idea that maybe Ren and Melissa are working together, or that Melissa's really calling the shots and Ren is, you know, like following her orders, those are all things that I would believe a little more. Next, we have the theory that Byron is A, and that's Byron Montgomery, aka Arya's dad. Now, I see this theory a lot, and I think it's because people want to pin being A on someone who's legitimately an adult and has access to money and just things that adults have that, you know, 16-year-olds don't. And so looking at the parents is something that's become very common, and it tends to go to Byron because, you know, he's been blackmailed and manipulated very much by Allison, and I guess Cece in a way too. But I just generally don't understand this theory, because if it were true, it would make PLL so dark. I mean, this is like a grown adult who is so angry or twisted or out for revenge that they go after Cece for blackmailing them. And it's somehow feels different than the rest of the tone of the show. Now, I know he was a suspect when it came to who killed Allison, but I don't think anybody really believed that he killed her. And if nothing else, I don't think it's the shock value that Marlene is gonna go for in this finale. The final theory that I came across today when I was researching this video, and it blew my mind. So there's a Tumblr called The Best PLL Theories, and that's where I found this one. And it's the idea that Allison was actually working with Cece the whole time. And I believe it because if you think back to the reveal when Cece was revealed to be Charlotte, to be Charles, everything that plays out is Allison in a room asking questions to Cece. And the girls are in another room watching this all happen on a screen. So basically this is all just a rehearsed act between Allison and Cece, and it's Cece deciding to purposely come forward and pretend that she's crazy so that she'll go to a mental institution instead of prison for what she's done, and so Allison kind of protecting her sister. And the idea is that Allison and Cece have actually been working together this whole time. That night, Allison and Cece were working together to kill Bethany Young because Allison was jealous of the attention that Jessica was giving to Bethany. And so they wanted to kill her, and then she ended up being killed, but they didn't even have to do it, but they wanted to make sure that someone else had the blame. Now, I like this idea because I have never bought it that Allison is as reformed and redeemed as she acts. Plus, I really like Sasha playing a villain character. I think she's really good at it. Okay, so then this theory goes on to post-time jump, and there we have the new Uber A, so who is that? And this theory says it's Melissa. It goes on to say that Melissa and Spencer are both Mary Drake's daughters, and that Melissa killed Charlotte and is now trying to find someone to blame for it. But the only place I feel like this theory gets a little thin is that the reason Melissa is doing this is because she, and everyone else apparently, has been trying to protect Spencer from knowing that she is Mary Drake's daughter and Cece's sister. And also that Melissa hated Charlotte, but I don't really blame her there because she's kind of a horrible person. So I really liked this theory, and I liked the idea of Melissa being A because she has been around since the very beginning. And I kind of believe she's, you know, she's smart enough to do this. I think she has the resources to do it. It's the motivation behind it that I think is maybe kind of lacking, but I do like this idea that both Melissa and Spencer are Mary Drake's daughters. There's kind of that evidence of when Mary Drake talked to Spencer at one point, she made a comment about Spencer and Melissa in the same photo and how much they look alike. I don't know, it's a mess. There are a lot of plot holes right now, and what I'm hoping is that they'll clear those up in these final 10 episodes, that, you know, the reveals or the twists will actually be a way of answering a lot of those plot holes that they were purposefully left there to, you know, answer in the big finale Endgame. But I mean, come on, in this day and age, who thinks that far ahead? So finally, I want to leave you guys with some questions that I have that need to be answered in these final 10 episodes. This is probably too many questions, but let's fingers crossed that at least half of them get answered. Who killed Jessica De Laurentiis? We still don't know. Who is Charles / Charlotte / Cece's father? Who is Bethany Young for reals? Like, how did she get screwed up in this mess and end up dead? If Mary Drake is Spencer's real mom, then who is Spencer's real dad? How are Melissa and Jason related to this whole crazy Mary Drake mom of Spencer revelation? Will Arya and Ezra get married, or does she just need to move on? Why does everyone hate Spaleb so much? Where the heck is Mike? And where is Mike and Mona's happy ending? Why do the girls never trust Mona? I mean, she's legit like the smartest except for maybe Spencer. They need some more brains, so please, please call her into the action some more. Is Allison pregnant with Emily's eggs? This little piece of hair is driving me insane. Who's the father of Allison's baby? Are Caleb or Spoby Endgame? I hope so. Will AD be someone completely forgotten up until this point? And finally, will the ending of PLL be as satisfying as I need it to be, or will it be kind of disappointing like the CC reveal? So question for you guys, are you gonna be watching the final 10 episodes of Pretty Little Liars? Can you believe that we're watching it when we're not in retirement homes? I didn't think that was gonna happen. Plus, you gotta remember to like, favorite, share, and subscribe if this video made you smile. See you guys on Thursday.